We'll do Mick, and then we'll say grace. We don't necessarily have to do that in front of the cameras, okay? All right, Mick, go ahead, please.
We'll try really hard to make this not boring, Mr. President. Mr. President, a lot of folks around this table have worked a long time, almost since you took over, to show you what's, to get you where you are today at this meeting. I call this the Drain the Swamp Cabinet meeting. I know we talked about that during the campaign. You've talked about it since you've been here. Today is when we're introducing the actual actions that follow up on those words, to show people what we meant when we said drain the swamp. Later on, after the press leaves, you'll hear from Andrew Bremberg, Administrator McMahon, and I think Mr. Hargan. When we got into this, one of the things we learned was that it has been almost 100 years since anybody really reorganized the government at this type of scale. It's been since FDR and his New Deal, where he changed the way the government worked, and we haven't changed it very much since then, which means we're almost 20% into the 21st century, but we're still dealing with a government that is from the early 20th century. This leads, Mr. President, to some bizarre results. In fact, the stories, you don't know where to start. Right now, because of the Byzantine nature of the way that we regulate in this country, if you have a cheese pizza, you make a cheese pizza, that is governed by the United States Department of Agriculture. No, it's the other way around. I always get these backwards. If you make a cheese pizza, it's governed by the Food and Drug Administration. If you put a pepperoni on it, that's governed by the USDA. If you have a chicken, it's governed by the USDA. If that chicken lays an egg, it's covered by the FDA. But if you break the egg and make it into an omelet, that is now covered again by the USDA. If you have an open-faced roast beef sandwich, that's one or the other. But you put the bread on top of it, it's the other one. A hot dog, the hot dog meat is governed by one. You put it in a bun, it's governed by another. One of my favorites, if you have a saltwater fish, you have a salmon, and it's in the ocean, it's governed by the Department of Commerce. Once it swims upriver, it's governed by the Department of Interior, and to get there, it has to go up a fish ladder governed by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. This is stupid. This makes no sense. And
by the way, that was incredibly sad. I think you should put that on television, not what I said. That was very...
Talk about this later, about the Department of Education and the Department of Labor being merged. We think that makes tremendous sense, because what are they both doing? They're doing the same thing. They're trying to get people ready for the workforce. Sometimes it's education, sometimes it's vocational training, but they're all doing the same thing, so why not put them in the same place? This goes back to the work that I think Ivanka did very early on job training, when we learned that we had, in fact, we don't even know how many job training programs we have. Some people think there's 40, some people think there's 46, some people think there's 47. We get it down to 16, and we put it all in one place, so that if you're not happy, or the next president is not happy with the way it's going, this is what he talked about when he said drain the swamp, and this is where we can show the people that voted for you, and even the people that didn't vote for you, that you care about good government, and that we're going to make things a lot better. So anyway, that's all I've got.
That's a great job, Mick. Thank you very much, and I think really terrific, actually.